What's going on, y'all? It's your man, Stephen Bardo, coming at you with another edition of Bardo's Breakdown. I hope your holiday season is going well. I hope you guys got your shopping done, got everything taken care of. Today, we're going to talk about, we always talk about the Big Ten player and Big Ten freshman of the week. We're going to talk about the game of the year so far in college basketball between Purdue and Arizona. We'll talk Illinois' victory over Colgate. We'll talk about Michigan State's surprise victory over Baylor. And we'll talk a little bit more about Big Ten stuff, some of the different games and whose stock is rising, whose is falling. And we'll also give you a little preview of what games to watch this week. All that here in this edition of Bardo's Breakdown. Glad to be joining you guys. If you want to join the tribe via text me 312-847-2739. Again, text me 312-847-2739. Have fun on the text. I show different things, pictures, behind the scenes type things. It's a little bit different than the email list. And if you want to join the email list, you can knock that out with two birds with one stone. Get your free copy of Triple Threat, Stephen Bardo's Guide to Basketball Terminology. It's a free guide where I break down some of the terms that I use to describe the game. You go to bardostribe.com, BARDOS tribe.com. Get your free copy. It's free money, y'all. You don't have to do anything but give up your email, and I will not blow you up. Anybody that's on the email list, they'll tell you. I come at you about once a week with some pertinent information, different things that I provide than you see here on Bardo's Breakdown. So check into that if you'd like. Get your free copy, Triple Threat, Stephen Bardo's Guide to Basketball Terminology. All right, let's get into it. Big Ten Player of the Week is Fletcher Loyer of Purdue. I mean, guys, he was outstanding. The Purdue team was outstanding, but he played like a man possessed. 27 points, 4 steals. I believe that's a career high for Fletcher. 3 assists in the win over number one Arizona. We'll get more to that here in a second. Big Ten Freshman of the Week for the 4th time, Owen Freeman of Iowa. 14 points, 11 rebounds in 19 minutes against Florida A&M. This young man has been really, really consistent, averaging just shy of 10 points a game. He and Ben Krikke have been really solid up front for the Hawkeyes, and their inconsistency hasn't been because of their lack of output. Owen Freeman, 4th Big Ten Freshman of the Week honor already this season, putting up great numbers as a freshman. Now, this is the game of the year, y'all. Purdue beat Arizona 92-84. I mean, we're getting NBA scores now in upper-level college basketball. Braden Smith and Fletcher Loyer hit 9 of Purdue's 10 made threes on the game. Fletcher Loyer played like a man possessed. His 4 steals and aggressiveness on the defensive end were, I think, set his whole game up. I mean, you don't see him make moves like that, the reverse layup, and he was so locked in defensively. That's a what we call a scouting report steal when he knew where the play was going, shot the gap and made it happen. That's over Caleb Love, one of the best 2 guards in the country. And so he was playing aggressively. He let the game come to him. I just thought that if he could bottle up his aggression, his emotion is what really stood out to me. What I was so impressed with the way that he played. And I thought that his defense set his offense up. He was looking to score like he normally does, but he was so aggressive defensively that I think it bled over to his offense, and he was outstanding. Thus, he picked up Big Ten Player of the Week. Look, Braden Smith could have easily gotten Big Ten Player of the Week. Look at this stat line: 26 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals. He was just a maestro, setting up his teammates. Purdue shot 54% against Arizona. Arizona, let me look their Ken Palm numbers up real quick. Arizona is number 3 defensive team in the country. According to Ken Palm, number 3 in the country, and Purdue was able to pretty much get whatever they wanted to on the offensive end. And here's the thing that I was most impressed with. They didn't rely so heavily on Zach Edey. He was still great. 22 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. He led Purdue in assists this game. So look how patient he is getting to his spots and getting his offense on. And this was against one of the bigger front lines in all of college basketball. Umar Bardo right there, who he's scoring on, is about 6'11", 290, 280, 290. Look at him being efficient, feeling out where the defense is, crashing the offensive glass, keeping his eye on the rim. But those 5 assists were beautiful from Edey and led his team in assists from the post position. So the offensive efficiency for Purdue was so good. And Zach Edey is playing at just such a high level. His stamina, he doesn't have to come out of the game like he used to. His stamina is increased. His touch is increased. His feel is great. And I believe this is his 7th year playing organized basketball. So you just can't say enough about the Purdue Boilermakers and what they're accomplishing right now. Number 1 AP team once again, and rightfully so. Just a wire-to-wire victory over who Tom Izzo from Michigan State said that Arizona is the best team that he's seen. And so you go wire to wire. You have a great home court advantage and Gainbridge Coliseum, the Coliseum in Indianapolis. Purdue fans showed up and showed out. So that was a great, great win. But the most surprising win of the weekend, I knew that Purdue and Arizona would be tight. I thought that Purdue would have an advantage. But Michigan State, y'all, what happened here? Y'all see the score, right? Michigan State at points in this game were up by 30 points on previously unbeaten Baylor. This is a Michigan State team that had come in struggling, had lost at Nebraska, lost at home to Wisconsin. They were 500 in their record, and they came out and balled. I was so happy for them and was really, really happy. Where is it? Here. I was really happy for this young man, Xavier Booker. He had 7 points in 8 minutes, and he was a perfect 3 of 3 from the field. So shout out to Xavier Booker that got in the game and made a contribution. I hope that will spur something in him. Tyson Walker was fantastic with 25 points, 4 assists, 5 steals, and 3 rebounds. Jaden Akins was strong offensively, but Walker was a maestro. Just was beautiful in how he directed his teammates, got to his spots on the offensive end, just rocking the big to sleep, getting enough space to create the 3-point look. They came out and punched Baylor in the mouth and never looked back. This was vintage Spartans basketball. Really happy for the Spartans that they were able to get this victory and that they got back to what they do best: defend, rebound, and run. That's what Michigan State has hung their hat on in the Tom Izzo era. They got back to it, and they got a huge victory and a much-needed victory over previously unbeaten Baylor, which is a really, really good team. All right, let's go a little deep dive into Fighting Illini. They took care of business yesterday against Colgate, 74-57. And I'm telling you guys, they got 4 players in double figures. And here, when you look at Hawkins, Guerrier, Domas, Hawkins 16 points. He had the most shot attempts. He was 6 of 14 from the field. Again, to me, that indicates a lot of confidence that Coleman Hawkins is building. He doesn't have to do everything for this team. He can be the Swiss Army knife, and when he can score like this, and he's still on the glass, he's still the probably, I don't know, Terrence Shannon might be the best defender this year, but Coleman Hawkins is generally the best defender. But he's playing very, very well, and he's starting to come on and show some consistency. Quincy Guerrier, that wrist injury is much better. He's 15 points. He's been much more consistent offensively. So that means Domas and Shannon can get their 15, 14, and the Illini still look good. So the offensive, the balance offensively that you're seeing from the Illini was pretty impressive. And then Terrence Shannon had 5 blocks, guys. 5 blocks from your 2 guard, from your wing position. So not only is he, scoring the basketball, and he wasn't as efficient. He was 2 of 6 from 3, He shot under 50%, but he's still getting quality looks. It doesn't seem to be broken or outside of the offense. He's getting things in the flow of the game. And so you look at his 5 blocks. The team had 6, but he had 5 of them. And he's still getting out in transition, getting those easy buckets, getting that easy offense that the Illini really need, right? And his athleticism and the way that he's defending, other guys on the team can't make the plays. He got a rundown block where a kid got a steal and he thought he got a layup. Terrence came from behind, slapped it off the glass, was out of bounds, got in bounds and saved it and retained possession. It was an incredible defensive play by Terrence Shannon. When he's playing like that, man, it's fun to watch, and he makes things so much easier for his teammates. So the Illini gearing up, and we'll talk about it a little bit in games to watch this week. They have really done a great job in this tough stretch of games. And their last game in this stretch will be the border war in St. Louis versus Missouri. And we'll get into more of that. I want to talk about another couple games that were just heartbreaking. This one, guys, I called this game in Madison Square Garden. Georgia Tech and Penn State, man, did they go at it. They went back and forth. There were 22 lead changes in regulation. Penn State had a chance to win it in regulation, and Ace Baldwin took a terrible shot. A contested 3, fade away. Tafara Ghaffari, the 6'11" forward for Georgia Tech, had a great challenge on. I think he even got a piece of the shot. It was a terrible shot. They had 13 seconds left, and Ace Baldwin sat there and jacked around with the ball and then went off a half-ass screen into a contested 3. That's what you get with a chance to win the game. So he misses it, and they go overtime. And this is why I was kind of upset with the shot that Ace Baldwin got, ladies and gentlemen. You go to overtime, and it's nip and tuck. Georgia Tech comes down, takes a shot, misses, and there's a mad scramble for the rebound. The play is along the baseline. Ace Baldwin falls down. Miles, what's Miles? Not Turner. That's crazy. I'm forgetting this kid's last name. Anyway, Miles, the leading scorer for Georgia Tech, gets the ball and freaks out. He gets the ball and he's like off balance. He just, kind of throws up because he loses his balance. The referee calls a foul. So we're like, wow, that was a frenetic situation. They go to the huddle, guys, because we couldn't see it. We got blocked by our camera guy. They go to the monitor. There was no contact whatsoever. Miles gets the ball. He just loses his balance and kind of throws it up. The referee calls a foul with under a second left. This kid goes to the free throw line and he knocked down one. Yeah, he knocked down one of them because Penn State had a shot at the end and a long desperation heave they didn't get. But people will say, oh, the referee controlled the game. The referee had nothing to do with Ace Baldwin Jr.'s poor decision at the end of regulation. The shot they got at the end of regulation was terrible. You at least get something going to the rim to put pressure on the officials. You might get a foul call. But if you're fading away on a contested 3, you're not going to get any kind of call. You don't put any pressure on the defense, and unfortunately, that's what happened in overtime. They lose on a really bad call. That Tommy Morrissey is a really good official, but that call is going to come back and haunt him for a little bit because it was a terrible call. And Georgia Tech ends up winning. So now Penn State's lost 6 of their last 7. And in 3 of those games, one was in overtime at Maryland that they came up short. They come back and beat Ohio State at home. Then they go to overtime again and come up short. And so Penn State, that was a tough loss. Indiana loses a close one at home to Kansas, 75-71. Xavier Johnson is still out with injury. And the Hoosiers had 4 players in double figures, led by Trey Galloway's career-high 28 points. I mean, they played Kansas tough. I mean, they were tough. Indiana played tough. Khalil Ware ended up with 14 rebounds, so he did his thing on the glass. He wasn't as efficient offensively, struggled from the field. Mackenzie Mbako had 14 points, but he kind of got stagnant in the second half. He got in foul trouble, and I believe he fouled out. Malik Renew in double figures as well. So the Hoosiers got good balance, but they really need Xavier Johnson to come back. They didn't get much production from their bench. Caleb Banks played 14 minutes, but I believe he had 2 points. CJ Gunn played 8 minutes, didn't play that off, didn't play much at all, didn't score, I don't think. And so Indiana just reeling, and they're not playing poorly. That Auburn loss was a little bit disturbing. They came back and played better against Kansas, but they've dropped a few here in a row, and so Indiana trying to figure things out. So whose stock is rising right now? Obviously Purdue with an incredible victory over Arizona, number 1 in the country. Illinois righted the ship, even though they lost at Tennessee. It's not going to be looked at as a bad loss. They come back home against Colgate and win. If they can beat Missouri, they're really, really rolling and playing well. I think the Illini now, let's make sure. I believe the Illini are 13th AP right now, AP. Even with that loss to Tennessee, they moved up quite a bit in the AP polls. Ken Palm, let's see where Ken Palm still has the Illini. Illinois 14, where they were last week, I believe. So no movement there, but their stock is rising. And Ohio State, even though they dropped a tough one at Penn State that they had control of, they were up 18 in the second half. They come back and get a really good victory over UCLA. It was a slugfest. Ohio State 68, UCLA 60. So their stock is rising. Whose stock is falling? The aforementioned Indiana Hoosiers stepped up in weight class big time, having played UConn, Kansas, and Auburn in Atlanta. And all 3 of those were losses, but they played much better against Kansas than they did against UConn and Auburn. So making steps, but their stock has kind of fallen a little bit. Penn State loses a 6 of the last 7, and Northwestern comes back and beats crosstown rival DePaul, but they lost at home to Chicago State. That's going to really, really drag down their tournament resume. Now, that's the beauty of college basketball. They beat the number 1 team in the country and then lose to Chicago State. That's as much of a swing as you possibly can get. So for that reason, to me, Northwestern's got a little bit of work to do to have their stock not continue to fall. Ken Palm rankings right now, Purdue is number 2. Houston Cougars still number 1 in Ken Palm rankings, but Purdue number 2, Illinois 14, Wisconsin 17. They were 15 last week. Michigan State and Ohio State flip a little bit. Ohio State was 22nd last week. They're 26th. Michigan State was in the 40s. They were like 40-something. They jump up to 23 with their emphatic victory over previously unbeaten Baylor. And now the games to watch this week, tomorrow, Florida versus Michigan, and that one is in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's the Jumpman Invitational. Then Friday, no, that's Saturday. No. Friday. Yep, Friday. Illinois versus Missouri in the border war. Great rivalry game, one of the best in the country. Maryland at UCLA also on Friday. That's a return game from when UCLA came out last season to Maryland and really pounded the Terrapins in the Xfinity Center. That will be a Pauley Pavilion in UCLA. And then on Saturday, Mississippi State at Rutgers. That one is in Newark in the Prudential Building. So that will be a home look for Rutgers. All right. Let's get to your comments because I didn't want to be on here as long as normal. I wanted to try to hit it hard and get up out of here. Haven Mosley, hope all's well. Chicago State over Northwestern. Not a good look for Northwestern. No, not a good look for the Big Ten either, Haven. Coach Collins was quoted as saying that his team just wasn't as connected, maybe overlooking. That was finals week. So there's a lot there going on. It's a tough time during the week, right in the middle of December. You got holidays coming up. You've got finals, guys' heads or elsewhere. Sometimes guys are thinking about transferring over the break because now you don't have class and you got more time to think when you're not in practice. So it's a weird time. Good to see you, Haven. Hope honeymoon is still lasting, my man. Arizona Purdue was a great game. Do you have any games this week? Yep, we just talked about them. What's up, Brats? How about this weekend, Steven? Never seen anything like it for the Big Ten. It was a good weekend. I would have loved to see Indiana upset Kansas. That would have been huge. If Penn State could have held on against Georgia Tech, that would have been a good win because Georgia Tech is an improved version under Damon Stoudemire, and they've already got victories over Duke and Mississippi State on the season. So that would have been a really good win for Penn State. Nebraska did their thing against Kansas State. I mean, they limited Kansas State to 17 second half points and ended up winning by double digits. So it was a good weekend for the conference, and they desperately needed it. What's up, Kyrie Thompson? Bardo, MSU isn't back after one big win. Baylor looked horrible, but congrats to MSU. But I want to see them beat Purdue, Illinois. But great win. It was a great win. And, yeah, they have to find some consistency, Kyrie. You're right. But, boy, was that emphatic or what? And part of the reason Baylor looked terrible because Michigan State punched them in the mouth. No, I think Jason Ross Jr. and Robbie Hummel are calling that Mizzou, Illinois game. I'm on the Penn State Express this year. Yeah, I don't know who I pissed off at the networks, but I made somebody upset. Purdue, to me, is the most battle-tested. Yeah, I would agree, Hoop Baller Scoop. Think about all the styles they have played this early season and won. I'm not saying they will win it all, but Final Four, I can see it. I can see them win it at all, Hoop Baller Scoop. They've played Gonzaga, Tennessee, Marquette, Xavier, Arizona. I mean, they played almost everybody you could play. Different styles, as you mentioned. So I think they're emphatically the favorite to win the national championship. I know Houston is in there. I still like Arizona as one of the teams. Who else can we throw in that mix? Arizona, UConn, Purdue, Houston, Marquette. Creighton looked really good. Auburn is surprising, and Kansas will be in the mix as well. But yeah, Purdue, they look as good as anybody in the country. As a Michigan State fan, should I be too excited about the Baylor win? We got Oakland tonight, which is a sneaky good Oakland team, Imani Williams. I hope like heck the Spartans don't overlook Oakland because they play a funky matchup zone. They go for steals. They do a lot of different things. It's kind of weird. They play that matchup style by Greg Campy. He's one of the coolest college basketball coaches in the business. He's the longest tenured coach at one school. I believe it's 39 or he's either in his 39th or 40th season at Oakland. And he's a cool dude, man, and plays a different style. So it could be a funky matchup. This game will be much harder than the Baylor game because they had their backs to the wall, national television, nationally unranked opponent or nationally ranked undefeated opponent, and they came out. They showed up and showed out. So this game tonight will say a lot to me about where the Spartans are moving forward. What's up, Brent? When will you be doing your next broadcast with Big Ten Network? I won't be doing another broadcast of BTN until maybe the start of the new year. Let me look at my schedule here. Yeah, I won't be doing another Big Ten Network game until Rutgers at Ohio State, January 3rd. So, yep. That I know it's a while, but that's just the way the schedule shook out, like I said earlier. Kevon, what's going on, man? It's early, but take away Edey, who's been the best player in the Big Ten. Terrence Shannon Jr., I think. Boo Booey's been good. You take away Edey, shit, his teammate might be Braden Smith. I would say outside of Edey, you take away Edey, who's played the best? Braden Smith, Terrence Shannon Jr., Tyson Walker's got to be in there as well. He's been balling. Tyson Walker's been really balling. I'd say those three outside of Edey. Because Illinois is winning. Well, dang, you could say the same thing about Braden Smith. I'd say Braden Smith, Terrence Shannon Jr., and Tyson Walker. Tyson Walker from Michigan State. I put those guys in there. That's good. Good question, Kevon. Thank you, man. Appreciate you tuning in. I watched Kansas versus Indiana. I can't think of Xavier Johnson's backup. He's a freshman. Gabe Cupps. Gabe Cupps is the backup. And so let's see what Gabe Cupps did. Let's go back and look and see what he did in that Kansas game. Because Trey Galloway had to do a little bit of everything. Cupps was 1 of 4. He played 37 minutes. Didn't have a lot of production. 2 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds. But he played 37 minutes. So they only played 8 guys. They only went 8 deep, did Indiana. So but I think Gabe is just trying to do what the coaches ask in terms of get the ball inside. Indiana shoots the fewest threes among Power 6 conference teams than anybody in the country. The one block he had to reestablish inbounds, incredible live to see. Yes, it was, Bryce, referring to Terrence Shannon's block yesterday against Colgate. Beautiful, beautiful play. The Big Ten is what's going on, James Coomer. Good to see you, my man. It's looking very strong all of a sudden. 1 weekend. I mentioned Ohio State beating UCLA. I'm kind of surprised about Moretti. I haven't heard anything about Moretti. So that injury was a little bit more serious than they were letting on. He was looking good before he got injured. Illini have a lot of depth and seem to be turning into a cohesive team already. Yep, Illini's second best team in the Big Ten right now. I would say so. Wisconsin's right there as well, and then Northwestern, Ohio State right there. But I would say Illinois is probably the second best team in the conference right now. Worried about the Illini keeping the intensity for a full 40 minutes, says Thomas Dagley. Well, I wouldn't worry so much, Thomas, with this group because they're so veteran. They're old. And so a lot of the things that we saw last season from the Illini, I don't think you're going to see this season. These guys are older. They're more businesslike. They know what to expect. And when they get contributions across the board, they're going to be really good because they don't wear themselves out. And that allows them to maintain that intensity that I think you're looking for over that full 40 minutes. Lyle Clark, good to see you, my man. We all know the Pajemski story and what he is doing now. Do you worry about losing freshmen like Hansberry and Lawhorn because not getting playing time? Well, Lyle, that's a pretty good concern. I can understand why that is of concern, but every good team in America has that same issue. Purdue has the same issue with Miles Coven, very, very talented freshman. And he was coming on, getting minutes. And I think that was one of the things that lit a fire under Fletcher Lawyer. And it's hard to find minutes for freshmen when you got guys like Fletcher Lawyer dropping 27 against the number 1 team in the country. It's hard to find minutes. It's hard to find minutes when you got four players in double figures for the Illini. And Ty Rodgers played a great floor game. It's hard to find minutes when those guys are playing the way that they're playing. And so you hope you kind of sell the option or the opportunity to get more playing time through practice. You got to beat these guys out in practice. And Imani Hansberry, I think I think he's right there. He was getting minutes, earlier on. But I think you'll start to see him get more minutes. Dane Danger played 14 minutes yesterday against Colgate, and he was his efficient self. And so, do you worry about it? Yeah, you worry about it, but everybody in the country does. Tom Izzo has the same issue on his hands. He's got 3 extremely talented freshmen that he's trying to find minutes for, and it's hard, especially when Michigan State had not been winning, but they got back on the winning track. We'll see what they do tonight against Oakland. But good question, Lyle, and that's a concern for most, if not all, of the teams. Hold on, guys. Got to send a text back. I keep hearing something like national championship has always been top 12 this time of year. You know anything about that stat? Yeah, good to see you, Monty. Thanks for tuning in. Monty's referring to there's a statistic that after December 16th, the top 12, I think it is, are from that group. There will be a national champion, and that that statistic is held up for like 20-something years. So whoever was in the top 12 of the AP top 20, let's see, top 12 of the AP top 20. Let's go to rankings. Let's go to week 7. So if we're to look, let's say it was let's say the rankings were what they were this week, what they were last week. So that would mean Creighton, North Carolina, Baylor, Kentucky, Tennessee, Oklahoma, which is undefeated, by the way, at 10-0, Marquette, UConn, Arizona, Houston's undefeated 11-0, Kansas, and Purdue. So Purdue, Kansas, Houston, Arizona, UConn, Marquette, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Kentucky, Baylor, North Carolina, and Creighton, and Illinois just on the outside at number 13. So that's what Monty's referring to. So it's an interesting stat. We'll see if it holds up. That does include a Big Ten team in Purdue. So we'll see. Right? But the way that Illinois is playing, I think Illinois can get in there as well. There we go. And as veteran as Illinois is, I think they could get in there as well. Who wins, Illinois or Missouri? Missouri's had Illinois' number, but I think it's going to be different this season again because the Illinois is so veteran, and Terrence Coleman will be able to relay the kind of the game surroundings and things like that with their teammates. Marcus Domask, I'm sure, is familiar with it, having been at SIU. He's heard about the border war. I like Illinois in this one. Missouri is not the Missouri teams that they've been in the past. Let's pull up where Missouri is. They're really I do know that they're very guard heavy, whereas they had some size last season. Missouri is 7-4 right now. They have wins they had a wild comeback win at Minnesota, 70-68. They've got losses to Memphis. They lost a tough one to Jackson State, and they're coming off 2 straight losses. They got smacked at Kansas. Kansas got them 73-64, and they lost to Seton Hall 93-87. So they're coming in on a 2-game losing streak. Let me see what Missouri, how Ken Palm breaks them down. They got a top 70 offense, but defensively they're like 115. So defensively they're not as strong as they've been in years past. And I think, when you are, you're not a very strong defensive team in that border war situation, with Illinois, having been handled the last few years by Missouri. I think I like Illinois in this one. Simeon Fuller, good to see you. Merry Christmas to you as well. Glad to see Coleman becoming himself after his injury. He's looking good. Coleman Hawkins is looking really good, and he's still doing everything else. He's still defending. He's still setting up his teammates very well. He's still handling the ball versus pressure. He's still getting on the glass, still getting block shots. He's a Swiss Army knife, but his offense is coming back. He's getting more aggressive. So it is good to see. It's very good to see. Andrew Moody, what's up, man? I'm confused why Sincere Harris redshirted this year and haven't heard much about it from the media. I thought he was a great spark off the bench, one of the most impactful players on the Illini last season. He was, Andrew. But again, you got a veteran crew like Illinois with Domask, Shannon, Ty Rodgers. You're going to get at least 30 minutes a game from them. And I think that he feels like next season, Sincere Harris will have had 2 years in the program under his belt. He'll have 3 years of eligibility remaining, and he could be a stud for the Illini. I think that's what they're looking at, because their roster is going to have a lot of turnover. They're old. So Domask, Shannon, Guerrier, probably Hawkins, they'll all be gone. And so I think they're trying to look at next season for Sincere to really have an impact. But it's a good question, Andrew. Good to see you, my man. Happy holidays. I Hope your semester at Clemson went well. We're not talking University of the Aces, and only one turnover for Cups. Yeah, Cups is sure-handed. He's not looking to score a lot because that's not what Mike Woodson wants of him. What did you think of Colgate big Keegan record yesterday? I missed the game and saw Illinois win by 11. Yeah, I was told Colgate is not as strong as they were last year. And that's from a former player that I heard that from. How did the Illini match up with Missouri? They've got to crush Missouri on the glass. Missouri's not a very good rebounding team. And so that's where Illinois, one of the premier rebounding teams in the country, that's where Illinois needs to make up for, what they're trying to do in terms of attacking Missouri. So it's going to be the glass work. It's going to be Illinois is so efficient on the offensive end. We'll see what happens with Missouri in terms of how they'll try to attack. So that's why I think it's going to be one on the glass, the team that controls the glass. Oh, I don't think Purdue doesn't seem to have a problem with their freshmen leaving. I think they're able to sell them on what their program is all about, right? And Simeon, I agree. Getting better and better is Ty Rodgers, and he's starting to look way more comfortable on the offensive end. Really picking and choosing his spots where he wants to get to. Oh wow, Oakland for the upset. Best shooter in college. No, he's not. He takes a lot of threes. He's not the best shooter, and the best post up player. They've got some dudes. Oakland has some studs, but I think Michigan State can overwhelm them with their size. And as long as Michigan State takes better care of the basketball, that's what Oakland thrives themselves on is creating turnovers and creating havoc. I think Michigan State will win that one. Mizzou lost to Seton Hall yesterday. Yep. So we'll see what happens there. What's up, Denise? Good to see you. Terrence Shannon hasn't impressed me as a two-way player. His stock has to be up. Any info on when Kohler comes back? I think they're saving Kohler for Big Ten play, Denise. But he's been working out. He was dunking at Nebraska in the Crip line. So he's doing certain things, but he's close. So it won't take him long to get back. Miss you calling Marquette games this year. Marquette seems to be missing Omax Prosper. What are your thoughts, Jan? Yeah, I miss calling Marquette games too. Not my call. That's above my pay grade. Tell the people who put the schedules together. I do miss calling the Marquette games. It was always fun. Yeah, Omax Prosper is Jan. That's a tough guy to replace. First round pick in the NBA. A crazy athlete at 6'8", long, loves to defend, could get to the rim, was a streaky shooter, but did great inside of Shaka Smart's system at Marquette. So he'll be missed, but I think with Ross off the bench, David Joplin is in a new role this season. I think that he and his teammates will get used to him having a more. He was a six-man role. I think they're still playing him somewhat, but he's getting more starters minutes. So there's a few adjustments that they're having to make. But I think that I think that Marquette's going to be just fine. I don't worry about them. What's up, Derek Thompson? What kind of NBA player can Terrence Shannon Jr. be? I think Terrence Shannon can be trying to think. Who can I compare his game to? Josh Okoro, the big bodied wing. Terrence Shannon has way more offense than Okoro, but that kind of physical build where he can defend multiple positions, get downhill defensively. He shoots the ball way better than Okoro does. I think he could be that type of player. Big body wing that can come off the bench, can get his offense when available, but more of a defender facilitator and defender facilitator more than a scorer, but will have the ability to score. All right. So that looks like that'll do it. That got me within my time frame because I'm going to be able to go check out this Oakland, Michigan State game. You guys have a great rest of your holidays. Happy holidays, everyone. I won't come back on Monday because we're going to take a break for Christmas. So I'll miss a week. But if there's something crazy or something comes on, I'll create a video and post it so that everybody can see it. But I hope you guys enjoy your holidays. I hope you're going to be able to spend it with people that you love. Merry Christmas, Steve. Watched first half Indiana game. Had great atmosphere. Indiana fans gave Hunter Dickinson a warm Big Ten welcome, as they should have. Merry Christmas to you as well, Dory. Thomas Dagley, Merry Christmas to you. To all my tribe members, thank you for the support that we've experienced all year long. It's been great. Love you all. Enjoy your family, enjoy your loved ones, and make this the best Christmas possible. Thank you for watching Bardo's Breakdown. Love you guys. And until next time, holla, y'all.